All right. It's a new show that we're starting out here. Welcome. It's called Breaking the Safe. Before you panic, it's not a safe bashing show. We want to explore safe, the myth, the complaints, the criticisms, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, all of those things. And in order to do that well, we've brought in a good friend and expert, Yuval Yeret, who's also a professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org. So hopefully our perspectives match up well on that end, and we can start closing some of the loops and gaps on safe. Yuval, how you doing?
Good, how are you, Ryan? Happy New
Doing
Year.
great. And so you're some of your background. You're an SBCT. You teach the safe courses. You've been, I think you're actually a safe fellow, which means you're very much involved in the evolution of safe and how what's in, what's out, a lot of those discussions. Or maybe you can talk about what it means to be a safe fellow and some of your backgrounds with safe, your background as a trainer, especially as a PST, and just the angles that you're coming from as we seek to break safe down, take a look at it from a holistic viewpoint, and see what's good, what's bad, and what can we work on.
Sure. Um, so I started working with Agile in product development as a practitioner in the trenches back in 2006 or so. And like many other people, once I saw that it worked nicely at the team level, started to feel the need to figure out how to improve agility for teams of teams working on bigger products, bigger solutions, trying to work together across multiple functions. And I played around with multiple things, trying to bring in, Scrum, Kanban, some mashups, looking at feature-driven development, some other approaches, and just did that in the trenches for a couple of years. And I became aware of Dean's work on Agile requirements at scale and the things that eventually became safe right around that time, and used that as interesting inspiration. And finally went and learned safe from Dean back in, I think, 2013 or so. And the things I really liked in what I saw was the assumption that, or the realization and the assumption that Agile cannot just happen by working with teams. It really needs leadership support and leadership engagement, and the reliance on modern change management practices as part of it, moving from pigs and chickens to actually involving leadership as part of your Agile journey. That's
Sure.
a big reason why I think Safe has a lot of potential and why it is, really succeeding out there, because it tackled the change management challenge the right way. There are a lot of problems with Safe. I would say I'm probably an SPCT and a Safe fellow. I kid sometimes that maybe it's because I'm willing to challenge Safe. Maybe it's despite the fact that I'm willing to challenge Safe and bring fresh perspectives. But you asked what does it mean to be a Safe fellow? Safe fellows is basically a designation that Scaled Agile provides to people that are leading thought leadership and challenging the status quo around what safe is, contributing to the framework, to the thinking about how to help organizations succeed with safe. So it's very relevant for us fellows to think about to play the perfection game with safe, so to speak. What's working well?
Sure.
What do we need to do different as a community? Provide some advice to Scaled Agile, where to take safe, help the community understand what safe is about, what safe is not about. So it's an interesting place to be, especially if you combine it with the fact that I'm also very involved with other communities like the Kanban and Scrum.org walls.
Yeah, and that's why I think having you, guide us through this discussion. So of course, so I've full disclosure, I've sat through your SPC 5 course. So I did the 4-day training. I actually enjoyed a lot of it, right? There's some really good things in there. There's some things that made me go, some of it you look at and you're just like, but that's my professional Scrum trainer stance, the scrum.org stance coming out on the Scrum specific things. I have a very similar experience to yours, started working on Agile and, as a developer and doing these types of things. I was more in the developer side. So XP, test driven, all of that stuff back in like 2000, 2001, 2002. And the team stuff, I think you're right. It's very well done at a Scrum, Kanban, pick your flavor, and the XP and the team stuff is sorted. When you start talking about portfolio, organization, those types of things, there wasn't a lot there, right? And so you're trying to figure out, well, do I do a Kanban board for the portfolio? And then what do I do at the org level? And how do we tie all this back together? And I think the genius behind what Dean, so when we say Dean, we're talking about Dean Leffingwell. He initially wrote a few books. I actually went to a conference talk of his, like right when that first book came out that he did. I got a free copy of it. He signed it. He gave a great talk about the gap that he was filling in the portfolio space and, agility at all levels of the organization. And it sounded great. It's like, wow, the team stuff is working and I can elevate up. And so, of course, everybody takes a look at it. Some organizations see it and they say, cool, that fills a gap. Other organizations say, nah, I love my XP or I love my Scrum. I'm going to stick with it. But I think initially the idea was actually, it was sold very well. It's filling a need. It's plugging a hole. It's dealing with a gap. Now, what it's turned into and spawned into from, 2002, 2003 to today, or whenever, Dean conceptualized this, I think that's a good discussion point because it is different. But what we'd like to do with this series of shows, and we'll do these for as long as there's Yuval's interest and your viewer questions. What we want to do with this show is really talk about the top myths, misperceptions, misconceptions, truths, good, bad, and different about SAFe, right? What's the good? What's the bad? What's the ugly? What's a myth? What's a fact? And really break that down. But we also want it to be community driven. Right. So Yuval and I I'm going to pull up the subway chart and I'm going to say, all right, buddy, make this make sense, And so we'll talk through that. And I think Yuval does a really nice job of talking through it, and that will help everyone out there. But we also want your questions, right? Your serious questions. Now, if you send us it sucks, why are you talking about this? Well, we're going to discard that one. That's not really helpful to the conversation. It's like, glad you have an opinion. We're going to keep moving on. But your serious questions, right? Why did they decide to do this? Why did they change the nature of the Scrum Master to more of a manager instead of a servant leader? Or I think those are really good discussion points, and we want those. And so we want you to leave your comments below. Of course, like and subscribe so you know when Yuval and I post a new video. But leave your comments below about your biggest SAFe questions. Now, our community members, if you've got that little badge, if you've signed up, you're going to get priority, right? Your questions are going to make it to the top. But we're going to try to get to everyone involved. But leave your questions, leave your ideas, and we'll try to work through those as much as we can. I think we're also going to do some live streams where we'll take some of those questions, we'll take some new questions, and really try to work through a lot of these ideas that come up on Twitter and on LinkedIn about, oh, SAFe is the worst because of this. No, SAFe is the best because of that. Let's just have those conversations. And as those develop, hopefully that generates new ideas, new comments, and we're able to work through those. How's that sound, Yuval?
Sounds good. I just want to reinforce, the mindset or the stances that we talked about applying here on this series. So we're not going to be Pollyanna about SAFe.
Nope.
No. We're also not going to be, negative Nelly about SAFe. Maybe a bit. We're both big skeptics about SAFe and about things in general, and I think that's the right way to be. Don't accept anything. Be empirical about it. Challenge, misconceptions, and we're aware of stuff that's being said about SAFe out there, and if people are not gonna write about it in the comments, which I'm sure they will, but we're gonna bring those things in. We're gonna talk about questions like, why aren't Silicon Valley companies or big tech FANG companies using SAFe? On the same vein, we're going to talk about what's similar and different between the business movement around SAFe and the business movement around Scrum. Because, as I think there are a lot of similarities between the journeys that these business movements have gone through over the years. So nothing sacred. We're going to have fun talking about everything.
I think in the next episode, and Yuval, I'm firing this from the hip, so let me know what you think. I think we ought to pull up Ken Schwaber's "Unsafe at Any Speed" blog post, and let's start there. Yuval and I are PSTs with Scrum.org. I mean, I owe my career to Ken Schwaber. I'm a huge fan of his. I know Yuval is too. But Ken's got a blog post out there that is a pretty serious condemnation of SAFe. And maybe we start there and see what some thoughts from Ken, work through that, and proceed from there. But in the meantime, we're going to collect your ideas, collect your comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your questions are. Let us know what your criticisms, your praises, all of those things. We've got one of the SAFe fellows here in Yuval he's got a lot of great knowledge about this. Plus he's a PST. Plus he works a lot on, I think, Pro Kanban as well. Is that right?
I've been involved with Pro Kanban.
So, I mean, we've got
from the background.
We have a great practitioner here who's not only in the higher levels of SAFe, but also is a respected community member across many different organizations. And we're just going to peel these layers back and see what's what. So we hope you all join us on this journey. I appreciate Yuval signing up for this and joining us as well. And keep your eyes open. We're going to be doing some live streams, some videos driven by your questions, comments, and feedback. So get cracking, leave us some comments, and the videos will follow. Anything else there, Yuval?
No, just looking forward to it. And it's going to be fun to have that conversation.
Yeah, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the videos that we do. We're also going to be very active on social media. Be sure to follow Yuval and I. It's at Agile for Humans, at Ryan Ripley. Yuval, what's your Twitter handle?
At Yuval Yeret.
So Perfect. We kept it easy. Keep an eye on the Twitter feeds, on LinkedIn, so that you know when new videos pop up. But that like and subscribe is the easiest way to do it. Leave us your questions and comments, and we will see you very soon. Thanks, Yuval.
Thanks, Ryan.